We're here at Gamescom 2024 and we're going to talk about Space Marine 2. I've played a bunch of Space Marine 2, I did our preview on it, but you're not a big Warhammer guy, so I wanted you to play a bit so I could, get a sense of what someone outside of the hobby or the fandom might think. So tell me about your experience.
So firstly, my history with Warhammer is basically non-existent. I once traded some Pokemon cards for a Warhammer tank from a friend when I was at school. Other than from working with you, very little knowledge of anything to do with Warhammer. I know you're really excited for Space Marine 2, and the good news is that I think it's really good.
You didn't want to tell me what you thought of it when you came out of the preview, and I was like, did you like it?
Yeah, I know. I wanted to keep you waiting, but no, I think it's really good. I think first impressions are that it looks spectacular, as you'll know from having played the demo a little while ago. As soon as you get control, you're kind of walking across a big bridge, and there's huge grand buildings. There's lots of things to see, like some great scene setting stuff of people being executed for cowardice. You've got like a rally of troops being shouted at by their sergeant. You've got a guy burning a corpse of a big bug thing.
Actually, think that's called a Tyrannid.
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
It's all right, comment section.
Yeah,
I got this.
That's all like really good scene setting stuff. Like, it really is great at establishing a tone and kind of, even for someone like me who knows very little about the setting, the lore, etc. You're like, I get what this is doing, and it's doing it really well. Once the kind of actual kind of nuts and bolts of the gameplay starts, I think it's really good. Like it's surprisingly melee focused. I wasn't necessarily expecting that. Everything feels really chunky, really like kind of brutal.
It's got some heft to it.
Got some serious heft to it. Everything you shoot is like exploding in fountains of blood. All the executions and stuff, they're like really reveling in the level of gore and just kind of maximalist violence that you would probably expect from this game, I'd imagine. Having read your preview and having talked to you about it, whenever you talk about Space Marine and how it feels to play it, you're very passionate about how it makes you feel like, a specific type of character within a specific like group of, like adhering to a specific doctrine and all this kind of stuff. I don't know any of that. All I know is like from trailers and like key art, you're playing a big guy in a big suit of armor, right? So in terms of that, in terms of what you want from a game that is advertising itself as like play as a Space Marine, a big guy in a massive suit of armor, I think it massively delivers on that. The feeling of seeing a horde of Tyrannids.
Nailed it, see, he's learning.
Like bursting through and having the kind of arrogance to know that you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna like wade through all of these is absolutely fine. That's all great. Like mechanically felt really good to play. I think the obvious comparisons to me seem to be like Gears of War, obviously like over the shoulder action, obviously you're not taking cover. But in
Space Marine 2, you are the cover.
Yeah, big chunky lads with big chunky guns shooting bugs, right? So, and also similarly, Helldivers 2, played a lot of that this year. Similar feeling of kind of just you're staring at a wall of disgusting creatures and just mowing them all down and having a great time while doing it. The thing that also reminded me of, which again seems like probably quite an obvious comparison, Doom and Doom Eternal, the modern Doom games, the obvious comparison, which is that you're shooting and smashing, it's got executions which are very much like glory kills, and it's like just fountains of blood everywhere, right? That's all obvious, but the thing that actually really stuck out to me is how colourful it is. The word that is, often used to describe Warhammer is grimdark, but actually, like, there's a lot of colour on screen. It's very vibrant, like all the particle effects and like the magic. It's such an entertaining game to look at. And assuming that the whole game isn't set within the same kind of like, gothic industrial future cathedrals with lots of, steaming pipes and stuff like that in it, assuming they use this kind of same engine and like mix it up on different planets and stuff, I'm really excited to check out more of the game and hopefully see like a lot of variety in terms of visually like what the game has to offer, because I think, you know, it's a very visually striking game, and yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun playing it. It feels like it's gonna satisfy people who want a
immediate reward. Yeah.
Like if that's how you want to engage with this game, it is all there for you. You know, you swing a big sword, a creature explodes with blood. Great. That's what you want from this experience. From speaking to you, I feel like it's probably going to satisfy the Warhammer nerds.
Oh yeah.
In terms of lore, story, seeing things that have maybe not been depicted in games before, in very lush-looking, you know, up-to-date graphics and, you know, particle effects and all, you know, all that kind of jazz. It's a very kind of AAA-looking game, if that's a phrase that we're still using.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm really glad to hear that you get it. Like, you don't have all the established like lore knowledge, because that was one thing I was really interested to talk to you about, is that I can't unlearn the many books and nerdy hours spent within the Warhammer franchise. So all of the things that I was locking in on, it was like, oh, I can't not take in the Warhammer element of it. But the fact that you still got like that, like, oh yeah, I feel what they're trying to communicate here, from seeing that commissar, from seeing the sergeant shouting orders and rallying his troops, to, you know, delivering on the power fantasy of being a big guy, not bothered about seeing a wave of horrible alien creatures coming at you. Like that for me was one of the things that I was really hoping Space Marine 2 was going to nail, and I had faith that they were going to nail it, but I really had no way of knowing if it would, because I'm already in.
So one thing I would say is that as somebody who is not connected to the universe at all, I am interested to know how much kind of value there's going to be in the story, because the characters that I encountered in this demo are all, I would say, extremely one note in an almost like Helldivers way, right? That kind of absolutely insane kind of dedication to this like mad Imperium thing.
Nailed it.
If it's literally just like all the story has to offer is like Imperium guys shoot bugs and other guys until the Empire wins, nice one, see you later, then I think it's going to get very tedious spending all that time with these characters who are just like, for the Emperor, blah, 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 like, you know, or everything they say is in that mode of like, I am a big, like, guy and I want to kill lots of things, right? On the one hand, like, that's what you want from this game. On the other hand, it's not going to, like, necessarily hold my interest in a narrative way, if that's all it is. But I'm hopeful that, you know, there was some kind of like interesting looking stuff with like some people who are like wearing things, and then other guys appear and like space stuff is happening, right? Like, cool, like give me more stuff to look at and enjoy. But I hope there's also like characters or events that I care about without having to be like read up on the Warhammer lore.
Well, the original Space Marine did do that very well, and again, it's hard to separate my thoughts because like I said, I know a lot of the background information, but doing my best to separate that and hearing some of the way the characters have been speaking so far, because I say I play the same build as you, I'm confident that there will be things that someone like yourself will be able to pick up on. You might not be as engaged with the minutiae of it, but I'm hoping, and I'm fairly confident from what I've sort of read and seen so far, that, or at least I hope, that the overarching story will still resonate with you as well, because Warhammer can do that very well, but as you say, there are all those little details visually and in the story and dialogue that I was thinking, you know, is this going to be just too much, or like just a bit overwhelming for people to just sit and listen to when a sentence has like 4 words in it that you need to consult the glossary for?
Yeah, there's like 2 levels on which I think people like me are going to engage with it in the almost like, right, see, you know, in like Dune, there are certain like sci-fi things going on that you just have to kind of like absorb, and because the film's like moving on. So like I said, the space stuff at the end, like weird freaky lads with visors on and priest robes and all this kind of stuff, I wasn't there just like pointing at the screen going, I don't understand this, right? Like I get the vibe of it, and again, I think the game does that really well. It communicates a specific kind of vibe and atmosphere, and you can learn a lot even just by looking at it. I'm hoping that there'll be plenty to enjoy on that level, even if the lore stuff is not something that I'm read up on. But yeah, like I said, if it is just going to be like big guys doing big guy stuff for like 10 hours with very little kind of light and shade in terms of story, maybe that's not going to hold my interest quite as long.
Well, overall, are you excited to play again?
Yeah, I would. I'd definitely play it again. And I know that from what you've said in your kind of longer and more in-depth and more knowledgeable preview that you can find on our site and youtube.com/GameSpot.
Nice.
That, you know, there's like co-op stuff, and I remember you saying that the stuff you do in the co-op kind of happens in tandem with the main campaign, and like there's like a big bug thing that's controlling all the little bugs, and you kill the big bug guy in the co-op thing, and that's an event that you then see from.
It's called the Carnifex.
Yeah, just dub me with the right stuff in the edit. Like that's interesting. That's cool, and like it would be a fun game, I think, to play with your friends. And
we'll play.
Yeah.
We'll play. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
We'll play Warhammer. Well, we don't have to wait too much longer to actually play it. It's coming out very soon, so make sure you stay subscribed to GameSpot because we have a lot of Space Marine 2 content coming. But first, you get to check out all of our Gamescom stuff.
Yeah.
We'll see you later.
This is the guy who's going to be doing all the Warhammer stuff.
That's me.